Hello everyone. Welcome back to Shatranj 64. Today we have another exciting game from Norway Chess 2026, where world champion Magnus Carlsen faces the talented German grandmaster Vincent Keymer. It starts quietly, but soon turns into a deep positional battle before Magnus shows his trademark endgame mastery. Let's dive into the action. Magnus surprises everyone by opening with b3, preparing to develop the bishop to the long diagonal instead of occupying the center immediately. Keymer responds with d5, claiming central space. Bishop to b2 follows, and black develops naturally with knight to f6. Carlsen brings out the knight to f3, while Keymer challenges the center with c5. White calmly supports development with e3, and black chooses a kingside fianchetto by playing g6. Then c4 increases white's pressure in the center, and bishop to g7 completes black's setup. Carlsen exchanges in the center with c, takes d5, and black recaptures with queen takes d5. White develops the queenside knight to c3, attacking the queen. Instead of retreating all the way back, Keymer chooses queen to f5, keeping the queen active. Now comes an interesting idea as Carlsen jumps with knight to b5, eyeing important squares. Black answers with knight to a6, defending calmly. The engine considers black's move perfectly playable, although another option like queen d7 was also possible. Bishop to e2 continues white's development. Black castles kingside, and Carlsen follows with kingside castling. Then b6 prepares to develop the bishop, while a3 by white controls queenside expansion. Black places the bishop on b7, and Carlsen plays queen to b1, inviting a queen exchange. Keymer accepts with queen takes b1, and after rook takes b1, the queens leave the board. This simplifies the position, but against Magnus, even a quiet endgame can become very dangerous. Black activates a rook with rook to c8, while Carlsen expands using b4. Keymer reroutes the knight to c7, and Carlsen immediately exchanges with knight takes c7. Rook takes c7 restores material equality. The move bishop to e5 is a strong positional idea, putting pressure on the board and making black think carefully. Keymer retreats with rook to c8, avoiding future tactics. Carlsen improves his king with king to f1, a classic endgame plan, while black places the knight on e4. Carlsen exchanges bishops using bishop takes g7, and king takes g7 follows. White's king continues toward the center with king to e1, while black retreats the knight to d6, looking for stability. The advance a4 gains queenside space. Black responds with c4, creating a passed pawn and trying to lock the structure. Carlsen activates his rook with rook to c1, and black doubles down by placing a rook on c7. White prepares for a long maneuver with g3, strengthening dark squares. Black doubles rooks by playing rook to ac8, increasing pressure on the c-file. Carlsen centralizes the knight with knight to d4, while Keymer plays a6, preventing any future jump to b5. White pushes f4, gaining kingside space and preparing active play. Black replies with h5, fixing the pawn structure. The rook lift rook to c3 is a clever move. It keeps flexibility and prepares to defend or attack from the third rank. Black's knight to e4 looks active, but Carlsen calmly answers with rook to c2, keeping everything under control. The knight then returns to d6, repeating its route without achieving much. Carlsen now pushes b5, grabbing more space on the queenside. Black answers with a5, stopping further pawn advances. White doubles rooks by bringing another rook to c1, while black counters with rook to c5. A very important moment arrives when Carlsen plays bishop to f3, improving the bishop and inviting exchanges. Keymer decides on bishop takes f3, and knight takes f3 restores the material balance. Black now advances the passed pawn with c3. This is an ambitious decision, but engine evaluation suggests that maintaining more flexibility with a move like rook to h7 could have avoided giving white clear targets later. Carlsen calmly supports his center with d3, while black strengthens the position using f6. Then knight to d4 repositions the knight toward active squares, and black centralizes the king with king to f7. The jump knight to c6 is excellent. The knight attacks key points and creates tactical possibilities. Black pushes h4, trying to generate kingside counterplay. Carlsen responds with g4, stopping black's plans, and Keymer continues with g5. The king's side becomes tense. White now captures the advanced pawn, using rook takes c3, and after rook takes c3 leaves only one pair of rooks off the board. Black chooses g takes f4, opening lines, and white immediately answers with e takes f4. The move h3 creates a dangerous pass pawn for black, but Carlsen is not worried. His king steps to f2, moving closer to the action, while black activates the rook with rook to g8, targeting the newly opened file. King to f3 is another typical Magnus move, improving the king instead of rushing. Keymer repositions the knight to b7, hoping to find counterplay, but then comes the tactical breakthrough. Carlsen plays knight takes e7. This is a brilliant move, winning an important pawn and increasing tactical pressure. Black replies with knight to c5, trying to stay active, but Magnus has seen everything. Then comes the decisive blow, knight takes g8. White's knight captures the rook on g8, winning the exchange outright. Black suddenly loses a full rook, and the position becomes hopeless. With no realistic way to recover from this material loss, Vincent Keymer resigns. If you enjoyed this complete game analysis, don't forget to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to Shatranj 64. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.